Jury selection is underway in the American Sniper murder trial, the blockbuster movie, casting a long shadow over the case. And the question is, can he get a fair trial? Let's bring in Alex Little. He is a defense attorney and former assistant federal prosecutor. Good to see you. Good to see you this morning. And
Thank you.
I wanted to say the defendant, is Eddie Ray Routh.
Yes.
So as you already know, listen, everybody's wondering, everybody has seen the movie, practically everybody. So
Yeah.
the question is, can he get a fair trial? And you well know this too, Alex, that the judge in the case has already said, hey, even if you read the book, even if you saw the movie, you can still sit on this jury. So can he get a fair trial, and what kind of jurors will they be looking to see?
I think he can, but at the outset we have to say this is an incredibly unusual circumstance. I don't think anybody can recall a situation where the defendant in a murder case is essentially the star of the top movie in the box office. I mean, this has no precedent whatsoever. But I think this case is very different, and because it's different, it may not affect the case as it would in another situation. Because what Eddie Ray Routh is alleging here is that he had PTSD, that he was insane at the time of this shooting. And so because this isn't a whodunit, this isn't a question of really what happened at the shooting range, it's a question of what was going on in his mind. Things might be different.
Mm-hmm. And so let's start with defense. And what will you already said defense is going to go after the PTSD.
Absolutely.
Is that going to be an easy argument for them? And then, of course, on the flip side, if you're the prosecution in this case, you're going to be, I'd imagine, calling witnesses up there who can testify about Routh's past, even before he got to the point where he was a veteran or in the Army or Marine.
Exactly. This is not going to be a standard trial where there's going to be a ton of testimony about what's happening in the moments before and after the shooting. There'll certainly be that, but it's really going to get into Routh's development mentally over the period of time leading up to the shooting. I think most of the press reports say that the reason that Chris Kyle was there at the shooting range was to reach out to Eddie Routh, and because he had PTSD. So they're going to hear about that, and I think the real question is how severe it was, and did it actually spark the shooting when it happened?
Right. So how do you see this playing out? I mean, you know, there is going to be, as you said, a strong case for the PTSD argument. But prosecutors, they have to do their job as well. So, again, I'd like to hear your take in terms of how this is going to be played out in the courtroom.
You know, I as a prosecutor, have had a case where a defendant had allegedly PTSD, and in that case, the jury hung. And I think the problem with all of these cases, it's very difficult for a juror to find beyond a reasonable doubt when there's really good evidence of PTSD that it didn't play a role. Sometimes what happens is the jury sort of split the baby. They say, well, we don't think he's guilty of the top charge, but we certainly don't want to acquit him. We'll come somewhere in between. So what the prosecution really has to do is focus on those things, those facts, which they think make the case particularly severe, and focus on those aspects of it, particularly maybe some of the things he did afterwards in taking Chris Kyle's vehicle from the scene that indicate that maybe he was, he was sane. And he was doing something he knew was wrong.
It's a sad case all around, for sure.
Tragic.
Yeah, very tragic. Alex Little, thank you very much. And that trial is set to begin this Wednesday, February 11th. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay. And